Be the difference. And Roverman Productions, in partnership with Joy FM and National Theatre, continues with the fun this year with a brand new exciting play by Uncle Ibo. It is titled Just the Tip. And Uncle Ibo joins us. I'll tell you where you can get a ticket. If you missed this weekend, I'll tell you where you can get a ticket so you can join the play this weekend. Uncle Ibo, good morning.
Gorgeous, good morning, and how are you?
Oh, I'm very well, thank you. Great reviews on social media. I heard that at a point people were dancing at the National Theatre in the middle of the play, really.
That's right, yes. Yes, it was a whole party.
I can't wait to have my own experience.
Yeah, we'll be expecting you.
Great.
So as Mama V said, just a tip open to the public last weekend, and what a glorious time we had. If you've never been to a party, join us for this party at the National Theatre this weekend. Mm-hmm. And then remember, you can get your ticket just by dialing star 365 star 535 hash, and you would be with us. Well, this weekend, my latest play, Just a Tip, open to the public at the National Theatre. There is a line in the play that got a lot of reaction from the audience every time. Let me set up the scene for you. Francis and Barbara grew up in the same neighborhood because they are childhood friends because their respective parents were the best of friends. In their mid-20s, they start dating. They are expecting their fathers, to be happy about the relationship. But when Francis approaches Barbara's father, Akuffo-Addo, to ask for her hand, the man says no, and he is very firm about it. Francis and Barbara are confused and bitterly disappointed that Mr. Dente is not in favor of their marrying each other. But as the saying goes, life must go on. So they move on to marry different people. Neither of them does well in their marriage. And now, some 30 years later, Francis has become the personal physician of the very man who refused to give him his daughter's hand to marry. Meanwhile, the spouses of both Francis and Barbara have died. Now, on the birthday of Mr. Dente, Barbara comes to spend the day with her father so she can help with the preparations for the celebrations of the day for her father. When she discovers that her father is not feeling his best in the middle of the morning, she calls Dr. Francis. Doc dashes to the house to attend to his patient. When the old man goes to take a nap, the two find themselves alone for a moment. They quickly review their past and ask if they should pick up their story again. To Barbara's great disappointment, Francis says, "I'm not sure. All I know is that as a man, I have resolved never to be married again." He continues, "I've discovered that unlike women who flourish in marriage, men wilt in marriage because men are ill-suited and ill-prepared for marriage." End of quote. In that statement is one of the saddest realities in life. In many ways, and in almost everything relating to life, women seem to be better prepared than men. The average girl knows more about marriage and about her role and what is expected of her before she marries, whereas the boy she marries is almost clueless. The girl would have had the input of her mother, of every auntie, of every big sister, and every elderly woman in her life or in her circles before she gets married. For the boy, on the other hand, nobody would have taken the trouble to guide him. His father would not share any insights with him. His uncles would assume that he knows what he is getting himself into, and they will not say much to him. His brothers would have nothing to share with him. They also would assume that being a boy, he will be all right. His boy's voice would only be excited that now he gets someone to satisfy his sexual needs whenever he wishes. So, on the day of his wedding, the young man will walk to the altar thinking he knows what he is doing, but he does not. He thinks he knows, and every male figure in his life has also assumed that he knows what he is doing. So, here he is at the altar, going to marry a girl who has been guided when he is clueless. The result, disaster and confusion on the boy's part, and heartache and disappointment on the girl's part. The boy is confused because he thinks he's doing his best and cannot understand why his wife is not happy with him, and is not giving him awards for being the best thing that ever happened to her. On the girl's part, she is upset and disappointed that her new husband is getting so much wrong. She does not know that the boy is simply clueless. She thinks the boy is just determined to make her life miserable. And so she also decides to make him as unhappy as she can make him. From that point, it often becomes a matter of time before the marriage falls apart. Unfortunately, it is not only in marriage that the boy is not prepared for life. It begins from childhood. Take the case of the average family with a son and a daughter. After school, the girl is asked by her mother to help her in the kitchen, and her brother is allowed to go and play or simply left to his own devices. By the time they move on from the shelter of their parents' home to make their own homes, the girl is much better prepared to run a home than her brother. Enter the room of the average young lady living on her own, and you'll find everything in its proper place and the room tidy. Enter the room of the average young man living on his own, and you'll find disorder. Some young men cannot even boil an egg. The result of boys being ill-prepared for life is costing men a lot. The average boy fumbles his way through life and learns what he needs to learn only when it is almost too late. We need to help the boy. We need to do better for our boys before we create a situation where our daughters cannot find any good man to marry, and the children are raised in broken homes. And so this morning I appeal to all mothers who have sons. Please don't treat them different from your daughters. Help them to learn to survive when they find themselves living on their own or find themselves being the head of their own households. And Mama V, that is my presentation for this morning.
Yes, Uncle Ebo, thank you very much for that. And we've heard you, those of us with boys.
That's right.
Yeah. Uncle Ebo with Food for Thought. Uncle Ebo is back on Thursday, God willing, for another Food for Thought. Is brought to us by Roverman Productions. Be the difference.
It's the most action-packed breakfast show in town. The hottest music, the best giveaways, the great interviews, and all the laughter and fun you can imagine. Don't miss the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. It's the best breakfast show in town. Coffee in your cup and joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
Thanks to Uncle Ebo for Food for Thoughts this Monday. And as always, brought to us by Roverman Productions. Be the difference. If you missed his play, the latest Uncle Ebo White's play, Just a Tip, at the National Theatre, you don't have to miss the plays coming up this weekend. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Just a Tip shows at the National Theatre. Friday, 7 p.m. only. Saturday, 4 p.m.